Hey, what's up YouTube, Scavenger here, and we are back on day, don't even know what day it is, day 37 of our 100 player fan game series. So as you'll notice, we are back on the old graphics. Now this is just because we are currently having a few issues with the new graphics. My computer is currently not liking them too much, so not sure why that is, but hopefully I can get it resolved pretty quickly. So in the meantime, we're back on the old version. Not that it matters, I kind of like this version better too, because I mean, look at that morale map, it's so much prettier. So, anyway, where do we start? Let's start with the newspaper. We have risen up the leaderboard into, I think it's 9th place, if I remember rightly. Yep. And today we're only going to get harder as we capture more land in Europe. We did make the list of wealthiest, well, I mean, we will be on the list somewhere, yeah, down to 15th, 1%. So, I mean, it's not all bad. So, there's really not too much to say about the newspapers. It was a pretty uninteresting day. However, where everything interesting is happening is up here in Europe, where we have finally broken through North USA's defenses in here. So it flipped on us when we tried to push through. North USA held positions in the mountains, and it took us a long time to dwindle those down with rockets alone. If we have a look at the stats, because we use rockets, we've been able to inflict massive casualties while taking a very small amount ourselves. Is there a stat here for North USA? Ooh. There we go. Yeah, so 24,000 to 150. Pretty good rate there. I would have liked to have kept numbers a little bit less, but I had to get my artillery involved in the end just to speed things up. So what's happening at the moment is we're just slowly cruising around Europe, trying to capture as much land as possible. There are still a few pockets of resistance, namely these ones here and this down here. Now we can push through. However, if we push through, we have nothing to then block and counter these if they push back. We get the impression that Romania has gone inactive. However, it is clear that Finland and North USA are still active. Now, our intentions with Finland are not actually to take him out. We will if we have to, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy if we just push him back to his borders before he declared war on us. Because, I mean, admittedly, although we are at war with him, he hasn't contributed much. He's basically just fought us so he could be, you know, keep on the good side of the Middle Eastern players who are now more or less dead. Is that convoy moving? No, it's not. So if we come over here into Asia, we can see that we have pushed pretty much all the way into Eastern Asia? Would that be East Asia? I don't know. Southeast Asia, maybe. And Persia is nearly on the brink of collapse. He's only got a few units left. At the same time, we can see that this player up here is on his way out as well. So he's doing pretty well there to hold on against 3 players. I believe he's up against Sumatra, New Zealand, Japan, British Columbia, and I think Venezuela is in there as well. So he's actually doing pretty good. Elsewhere in the world, there's not really too much to show off because nothing's changed. If we come down into this region here, we can see that Sumatra has reclaimed its territory. New Zealand has moved its capital to Australia. Interesting move for a Kiwi. And clearly not an actual Kiwi, or else you'd never do that. Actually, admittedly, I've done it before. I had to, though. I had to. I was left with no options. It had to be done. And, I mean, everything's pretty much the same up here. Over the night, we were able to sink a North USA convoy that was over here. So we're pretty happy with that. Oh, where's he going? He's moving up to here. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what Venezuela has got planned at the moment. I'm not quite sure what he's up to and what his allies are up to. They seem to be positioning to attack us. Because, I mean, I don't like to think he's going to, because he's been such a nice guy and has helped us out a lot, but it does look that way. So basically what's happening at the moment, he's sending these massive groups all the way over to here, and down here he has repositioned those subs. That's an interesting path right there. A very interesting path, in fact. Anyway, so he's basically got this convoy that's heading along here that we're trying to figure out what he's doing. As we can see, we're deploying heaps of rockets to the region, and these will protect our coast. Now, if he does attempt to land, we are going to destroy them, because, I mean, why would you position so many of your troops off the coast of a, I guess, friendly player? It doesn't make much sense. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I think if he does attempt to attack us, he's going to regret it. I don't think it will go too well for him. I mean, he's surely seen how things went for North USA. North USA had something like 120 troops in Europe. Now he has none. So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what he does, whether or not he decides to go through with it or not. So, we've also got this convoy up here as well that's heading up to this region up here. Now, he could be going to invade this territory up here. However, I find that incredibly unlikely that he is sending all these troops for that. So, I mean, what's that? That's like, we'll do some rough rounding. So that's like 50, 80. Yeah, he's sending like over 120 units to take the United Kingdom. Now, we have intel here, and I can tell you that there's not quite that many troops for him to go up against. He could get away with sending only a few light tanks. So, I don't know what his plan is. He's definitely not going to attack North USA either, who also has territory in the region, or else we'd see him deploying troops up to here, to where they actually have a border. At the same time, we can also see the North USA is still grouping up troops and moving his units east back into the United Kingdom. So he may have some intent to work with them. Now, this is the first time we've seen movement from East Amazonas in a while, but it once again appears as though he is grouping up troops over here. And I mean, where are they going to go from over here? Unless he's worried about us attacking him, there's no reason for him to group troops up here. So, although I hope that I'm simply misreading the situation, it is very possible, and that is the next scenario we're preparing for, that the Americans are going to try attack us. Who knows? Could happen, might not happen. We'll find out. So basically the plan is, if these convoys attempt to land, we've got rockets stationed up here that we're just going to obliterate it with. Won't stand a chance. That'll give us time to regroup, deploy our navies, and come back and thrash them. Now, the one problem I see with this at the moment is all of our rockets are moving down to this spot here, and although this patrols a large area and we have the stack over here, this stack here of 8 is not going to compensate once this convoy moves out of its range. So it might pay for us to move our rockets back up to here and slowly reposition them as he moves off the coast. There's no point having all these rockets if they're suddenly not very useful. In terms of what we're doing at the moment, apart from recapturing Europe, we are building and training some troops, not many. As we can see, we are building a few upgrades to our economy. In fact, I should probably do some more. This is just the resources I've accumulated overnight, and it's probably time we went and spent them. We can also see that I'm training some paratroopers, and all that order of submarines I ordered must be done. Also got paratroopers lined up for days. We're also about to have elite paratroopers, which is going to be nice, and next level destroyers. So how many of those submarines did I pump out in the end? No, I didn't get as many out as I would have wanted. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go in here and we're going to select all of our ports. Every last one of them. And how many is that? So 8 submarines. I want twice as many, so we'll put 2 lots on back order. At the same time, I want these producing pretty fast, so let's make sure they all have industrial complex upgrades underway. Now, the next thing we need to focus on is our food. Our food production is still pretty low. At the same time, we've got to work on our goods and get our, capital back up to where it should be. So let's just check this out. Yep, that's upgrading. That's not upgrading, so let's go and invest in some more infrastructure here. Let's turn on my morale map again, actually. There is morale map. There it is. And that's about that. So what else can we spend stuff on? We need to increase our rear production so we can then produce more industrial centers. So that's the next mission. However, I think I should be able to buy a new industrial center today with a bit of luck. So how much? I think I need another 2,000 goods to be able to buy, yeah, and a lot more metals. So I'll save it for a new industrial center to upgrade and put in this oil producing province, and that'll be about it. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.